On the 9th of October, 2024, a woman sat at the back of a crematorium in Harrogate, North Yorkshire. She was quiet. She didn't speak to anyone. She stayed for 11 minutes. Then she left. The funeral she was attending was her own. Mara Solano had been declared dead 6 days earlier. Death certificate signed, body identified, case closed. Only one person saw her that day, an elderly attendant. He assumed she was a mourner who had become overwhelmed and left early. He thought nothing of it. By the following morning, she was gone again. This is case 004, the second funeral. Mara Solano was 36 years old. Freelance medical translator. Fluent in 4 languages. She had lived in Harrogate for 7 years, since her marriage to Callum Priest in 2017. By all external accounts, the marriage was stable. Callum was a property developer, successful, well-regarded, well-connected. People who knew them described Mara as quieter than she used to be. They said it the way people do, when they mean something, but don't quite want to say it. On October 1st, Callum Priest reported his wife missing. He said she had left without explanation. He assumed she needed space. 2 days later, a car registered to Mara Solano was found in a ditch on a rural road outside the city. The vehicle was badly burned. A body was recovered from the wreckage. The body was in poor condition. Severe burn damage. Visual identification was not possible. The coroner requested dental records. They were submitted the following day by the administrative team at Mara's GP surgery. The records matched. Mara Solano was declared dead on October 3rd. Cause of death: injuries sustained in a single vehicle road accident. No second opinion was sought. No DNA sample was taken. No fingerprint comparison was made. The dental records were considered sufficient. They almost always are. Nobody thought to ask who had put those records into the system, or when. 3 people became central to the investigation. The first was Callum Priest, 41 years old, Mara's husband of 7 years. He was calm throughout every interview, cooperative, articulate, visibly grieving. His alibi for the night of the accident was his own home, alone. He had been the one to report Mara missing 2 days before the accident. When asked why he waited 2 days before calling the police, he said he didn't want to overreact. The second was Diane Solano, 31, Mara's younger sister. She came forward the morning after the funeral. She said Mara had called her the night before, alive, frightened, telling her not to tell anyone. Diane had waited until morning. She said she was trying to decide what to do. Throughout every interview, Diane kept looking at Callum. The third was Dr. Rena Shah, 44, Mara's GP of 6 years. Professional, measured, cooperative to a point. She confirmed that Mara had attended an unscheduled appointment on September 27th, 6 days before the accident. She cited patient confidentiality for everything else. The appointment had lasted 41 minutes. A standard GP appointment is 10. Nobody had asked her about that discrepancy. Until now. Let's establish the sequence precisely. September 27th. Mara attends an unscheduled 41-minute appointment with Dr. Shah. October 1st. Callum Priest reports Mara missing. She left without explanation, he says. October 3rd. A burned car. A burned body. Dental records submitted. Mara Solano declared dead. October 9th. The funeral. A woman sits at the back for 11 minutes, leaves before it ends. That same night, Mara calls her sister. Alive. Frightened. October 10th. Diane comes forward. The investigation reopens. Now, consider what this sequence tells us. Mara disappeared on October 1st, 2 days before the accident. The body in the car was not reported by Callum. It was found independently. Callum had already established a missing person report. When the body was found, he already had a narrative in place. He didn't need to do anything. The system did it for him. When investigators finally pressed Dr. Shah, past the confidentiality barrier, what she described changed everything. Mara had not come to the appointment with a medical complaint. She had come with documents. Over the preceding months, Mara had been quietly collecting anomalies. Prescriptions she had never been given, referral notes she had never received, diagnoses she had never been told about. Her medical record, the official version held at the surgery, described a patient who was increasingly unstable, prone to delusion, a potential danger to herself. Mara Solano had never been diagnosed with any of those things. She was a healthy woman in full employment with no documented mental health history. But the records said otherwise. And the records had been there for months, building quietly, attributed to a locum doctor. Dr. Shah had never seen this locum. The surgery had no record of hiring one. That 41-minute appointment was Dr. Shah realizing that her practice had been used to build a case against her own patient. To understand what Callum Priest had built, you need to understand what it was designed to do. A lasting power of attorney grants one person legal control over another person's finances, property, and welfare in the event that person is deemed unable to manage their own affairs. It is a document designed to protect vulnerable people. Callum had been preparing to use it as a weapon. The falsified medical records served one purpose: to establish, in writing, in an official system, that Mara Solano was mentally unwell, unstable, delusional, a risk to herself. Once that foundation was in place, a formal application for lasting power of attorney would have appeared entirely reasonable. Her assets, her accounts, her property, everything she owned transferred to his control. And once that transfer was complete, Mara Solano would have had no legal standing to challenge any of it. Because the record would say she wasn't capable of knowing what was real. This is not a crime of passion. There is no heat in it. Every step was planned months in advance. Callum never lost control. He just administered it. The falsified records did not appear by themselves. Someone entered them. A medical records administrator at the surgery, a role that carries full access to patient files, had been making additions to Mara's record over a period of approximately 8 months. Each entry was attributed to the non-existent locum, Each entry was consistent in tone and clinical language, professional enough to pass unquestioned. The administrator was known to Callum. The nature of that relationship is still under investigation. What is known is that the same administrator submitted Mara's dental records to the coroner on October 3rd. Not the records of Mara Solano. The records of a recently deceased woman of similar build and age, whose file had passed through the surgery and whose death had not yet been registered locally. The dental records matched a dead woman. They were submitted as Mara's, and the coroner had no reason to doubt them. Why did Mara come back? She had run. She had hidden. She had called her sister from an unknown number. She had done everything right. But she needed to know one thing: whether it had worked, whether Callum believed she was dead. She needed to see his face. She sat at the back for 11 minutes. She watched him. And then she left. What she saw, we don't know precisely. But she ran again immediately after, which tells us something. Callum Priest stood at the front of the crematorium at his wife's funeral, composed, appropriate, grieving in exactly the right measure. He knew the body in the casket was not Mara. He had arranged it. And he stood there and received condolences and didn't flinch. Callum Priest was arrested on October 14th, charged with fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. The medical records administrator was arrested the same day. Mara Solano has not yet been found. Diane Solano has not heard from her sister since that phone call. Dr. Shah is cooperating fully with the investigation. Somewhere, Mara Solano is still out there, with no phone, no access to her accounts, no proof of who she is, because the official record says she's dead. He didn't need to hurt her. He just needed the paperwork to say that she wasn't really there. And for a while, it worked.